Hello, friends, and welcome to the space where we discuss business, landscaping, beer, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist here in London, Ontario, Canada. And this is Season 2 of Hops and Hedges. Stay tuned after each episode for a message from our sponsor, ext.tech. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in.
But wait, this is actually not another one of your regular episodes. This is so exciting that on August 20th, so 2025, this is next month, Knowledge Tree Consulting is hosting an event at Koivik Contracting, and they are in Milton, Ontario. Koivik started in 1980, and over the past 45 years, they've grown into an amazing company that attracts the best clients and delivers the highest end landscaping projects. This event is going to give you the chance to see how their company operates and gain valuable takeaways to grow your business profitably. What's exciting is that I actually have an exclusive discount for my listeners. This means 50% off your $600 ticket until July 1st. And there's only 10 tickets available at this price, so make sure you grab yours today. You can learn more by clicking on the ticket link page through Eventbrite. But the 50% discount code is, well, you're actually going to have to listen to the whole episode to hear what it is at the end. Thanks for listening, and now let's get to the interview with Peter Guinane from Oriole Landscaping. There you go. We are now recording. With me today is the one, the only Peter Guinane from Oriole Landscaping and KTC. So Peter, welcome onto the show. I'm so glad to have this time with you.
Hello, Heather. Thank you for having me.
We've seen each other a few times. I was able to introduce you at the designers conference just this year, so that was kind of cool. Was not expecting to do that, so that was an absolute pleasure.
There you go.
You are a busy guy, and I know I'm a busy gal. So before we get into it, how have you been dealing with? I mean, right now we're not even July yet, and we've been dealing with a week of rain and a heat wave that got up to, I think it was quote unquote, feeling like 49 degrees at one point.
Yeah, it's less unusual these days, but it's very hard to manage, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And all you can do is you can tell your crews, right, your guys and your gals, to take shade breaks, hydrate, don't push it, don't try to be a hero. But you can only say that so many times. And you will get people who don't take the breaks, who don't hydrate, and who try to be the hero every time.
Yeah. Every year there's somebody who ends up suffering some heat-related stress, and they end up taking the next day off. And it's worse too when it's multiple days and it's not cold at night. And there are still people that don't have air conditioning at home, that don't have a way to cool off in between, and that makes it.
I was just going to say, there's so many people. Yeah. Right, renting places that don't have AC. So
no, it's it's a real challenge. So we do what we can at work anyway.
Absolutely, and that's all we can do.
Easier,
all we can. So Peter, you are the CEO of Oriole Landscaping, and I loved your signature on your email. What does it say?
I don't know. I set it up years ago. What does it say?
Oh my gosh. So here I am saying I'm not going to put you on the spot, and then I'm putting you on the spot. I think it says Beyond Ordinary since 1986.
Yeah. So that is something. We had Compass Creative help us with our website and branding.
Okay.
Probably 15 years ago. They did a great job. We came up with Beyond Ordinary. We thought it was, something special.
Yeah.
And I put it on my email signature, and I haven't thought about it since.
Well, there you go. Now we're thinking about it again.
I do try to live up to that, but not because of the signature, but because that's what we try to do every day. And it's funny. I don't. Yeah, that is funny. I haven't even read my own signature.
It is still impressive after all this time. So Beyond Ordinary since 1986. So for those tuning in who might not know you, I mean, number one, if you don't know Peter, you got to look him up because you are quite extraordinary yourself. But can you let our listeners know, like, who are you and what is Oriole Landscaping?
So Yeah, I started Oriole landscaping with my next door neighbor in 1986, and I have become an accidental landscaper. I had no intention of doing landscaping as a career, and it was a summer business while we were at university, and it was a lot of fun. And I had intentions to do a lot of things in my life, and landscaping wasn't even on the list.
Yep.
But what I found through the business was that I I found joy in dealing with people, solving problems, designing solutions, building things physically with my own hands,
Yep.
and being in nature. And
Right.
that full combination really sort of resonated with me. And it's something I thought, in 1990, when we were done at school, we said, well, let's see, we'll do it for 1 year and see how it goes, as a full-time business. And then we did it for one more year. And then, after a couple of years, we had employees and trucks and equipment, and
Wow.
it was a big business. And then it was something we could actually steer. So if we wanted to
Right.
do something a little different or explore something a little different, we had the power to do that. And that's kept it interesting ever since. And that was a long time ago, and we have tried a lot of different things over the years.
Holy smokes. So I'm just thinking, so you started Oriole landscaping with your neighbor in 1986, and I was born in 1987.
There you go.
So I'm not a 90s kid.
Yeah.
I am 80s through and through, and I still think I should have been born in the 70s because I still think that only the real music was like 70s, 80s.
There was so
Like
much good music then. Yeah.
it's all good
There was
music.
an awkward period in the 90s for sure. So,
Yes, that's the part that I lived through.
yeah.
Aqua and Spice Girls and Backstreet
Yeah.
Boys and
Yeah.
Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that on this episode. Um, so and then so that's Oriole landscaping, and Oriole, I mean, you guys do everything. There's the construction, there's the design.
We,
Uh,
yeah. 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 We tried to vertically integrate the work of the company where we have skilled staff that can do all aspects of the business.
right,
We've never gotten into doing irrigation. That's a subspecialty that we've been happy with the contractors we work with over the years. And we, in order to get into some of these specialties, you need to be doing quite a lot to justify starting a division in that area. So to do irrigation business, I might be able to make a go of it to have
right.
an irrigation spin-off,
Hmm.
but I'd have to be doing, $750,000 a year in irrigation, which, that's sort of the threshold to sort of have another division. And I don't feel like doing that. I don't need
Yeah,
to. I've got so many other things on the go it's just a little further away from what I need right now.
absolutely. And when you have those sub trades, right, they're part of your peer network. They're good at what they do. You're amazing at what you do. Why would you try to, do something that's not your thing? Just
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get the guy or the girl who that's their thing and bring them on to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds silly when I say it
Yeah.
like that, but
But
I may be a little.
we did get into construction. So we do renovations and additions, and we have a construction division called Solid Space Construction. And
Yep.
that was built specifically to help my staff during the off season. We've dabbled in snow over the years. And similarly, with snow, you have to be doing a certain amount of snow to make it worthwhile. If you're not
Absolutely.
doing enough snow, if you're doing $300,000 worth of snow, you're the manager, you're worrying about every night, you're checking the radar every 3 hours. You're always scrambling because you don't have enough staff when it snows or somebody is off. And
Yeah.
it's a struggle unless you're big enough that you can have managers that take shifts, that you have enough staff so you have depth of bench. And I didn't want to get into that on that scale, because it was just, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that's when the insurance started to go crazy. And it was just something we said, you know what, in order to have more predictable revenue in the winter, we got into construction. We had this skilled staff. They didn't like doing snow.
Right.
So we started doing construction for our clients. And construction is really client management, just like landscaping.
Yep.
So a lot of my landscaping clients were happy to hire us to do construction when they realized that we had those skill sets in our business, and they could get serviced with a high quality product, just like we do
Mm-hmm.
landscaping. So
And man,
it's
I would
worked for
much
us.
rather be doing construction in winter than snow.
Yeah. And then yeah, so construction, and then more recently, George and I started doing consulting, where
Mm-hmm.
we help other businesses by providing advisory services and coaching services.
Yeah, which is extraordinary. And I mean, there is an event coming up, so August 20th. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure everybody listening, they want to know the discount code, but they're going to have to listen till the end to find out the
that's right.
discount code. But so you guys have actually done a number of these events where you go in with a contracting business, usually like a landscape contractor, and you open their doors to other contractors to come to visit to see how they organize their yard, how they do their morning routine, how they set up their guys and their girls, and how they manage the designs and the sales and their systems that they've and the procedures that they've put in place. Like this is an intense day and
Yeah,
usually a 2-day event. So can you talk about this, not just with the upcoming one at Koivik, but you guys have been doing this for a while and this is it's pretty awesome.
yeah, we've done workshops at Oriole where we've invited people to come to Oriole, and we provide, you know, seminars on how to read your income statement and balance sheet, how to organize your yard, how to instill a system of continual improvement in your business. George, my business partner, is very organized, and organized, you know, physically as well as uh, organizationally. And our yard, everything had to be laid out physically to create a smooth operation and
Right.
not just procedurally.
Hmm.
And so we spent several years showcasing what we did at Oriole and how we've created an organization that flowed and worked more efficiently, and systems that we came up with. And we've coached other businesses with those systems, and some of those businesses have flourished. So 2 years ago, we had an open house at JC Landscaping, and that was really successful. They have implemented a lot of systems, and they've taken what we suggested and they've made it even better.
Hmm.
Justin from JC he's, you know, a great business person. So he really did a great job with it. And then last year we had a tour at Earthscape and
Awesome.
near Waterloo, and they are another exceptional business with fantastic leadership, and they have really created a organization that thrives and is growing. And then this summer in August, the 19th and the 20th, we're doing a full day tour and seminars at Koivik Contracting in Milton. And they've obviously had a phenomenal success. They've been in business for since 1980, so 45 years.
Wow.
And they've built a specimen tree nursery. They have a soil manufacturing facility. They have a phenomenal design department. They do high-end construction in Toronto. We've competed with them on a number of projects, and then they do maintenance as well.
Right.
So
And you guys have also known them like personally
yeah,
for 20 some odd years.
so we're competitors, but we're friendly competitors, and
Yep.
you know, they've helped us, we've helped them over the years, where we've shared some resources on occasion, and we've supported each other, and we compete against each other for projects sometimes, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of work out there over the years,
Hmm.
so it hasn't really been that I've had to, you know, I wouldn't undercut anyone. I don't like selling for price. So,
Yeah.
you know, you win it fair and square sometimes, and you lose it fair and square sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, no, he does it a little differently. Like his business started in 1980, and he's second generation, and
Wow.
his business is a little more old school than Oriole, but it is very successful. So what is
Hmm.
it that makes that operation successful? And there's probably 100 ways to run a successful company, and I'd
Yeah.
like to understand all of them. Mostly because there's probably a million ways you can screw it up. So you don't have to do it exactly the way we do it, but you should pick at least one of the good ones and avoid
Right.
all of those bad ones.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that's part of what we do, and that's the whole point of networking. So there's going to be at the Earthscape event, we had 110 people there representing different landscape companies,
Wow.
and it was really successful. And we had an opportunity to talk to a lot of people and learn how different people solve their problems, same problems, but they have different solutions.
Right.
And at this event in August, we're hoping to get about 150 people out to it, and 150 companies to share their experience, to learn what has worked at Koivik.
Yep.
And it's a two-way street. So we showcase, we also listen, and we invite people to share their experiences.
I just can't, like it is such an extraordinary opportunity. I can't imagine, Honda opening their doors
Oh yeah,
to GM to be like, "Hey, do you want to see how we do things?" You know? Like
yeah,
it
it
just
is.
doesn't happen in other industries. And you guys have really created, I think, something special here, an extraordinary opportunity for any contractor to buy a ticket, show up, and see how one of the best
Yeah,
runs their day to day. Like
yeah,
I'm personally so stoked to be there. I'll be there with a buddy of mine, Daniel Love from Parkway Gardens. So he and I,
yeah,
we will be there just to check everything out. But so this is it's a $600 event, but we actually have a code that you get 50% off, and there's
yeah.
only 10 tickets at this price. So you still have to wait to the end to get the code. But this is not an event you're going to want to miss. So I still have lots of questions for you, but before we get to that stuff, I want to know what's what are you drinking?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Let's
Yeah,
get to the important stuff. What are you
that's right.
drinking?
That's right. So I usually drink an IPA. But I'm also not stuck on any particular beer. So
Yep.
I've got my thing on and there you can
Yeah,
see it.
Longhorn
Longhorn
Lager.
Lager. This is a friend of mine in Uxbridge, brews his own beer, and it's nice. It's a nice sort of
Oh, that's a
amber
nice
color.
color.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a nice glass too. Is that
this
actually
one.
etched? Like laser
Yeah, oh
etched?
yeah. I got this. I was at a bar in Belgium last year, and I was drinking
Nice.
this beer. They have a lot of great beer. They had like 300 beers at this bar. So I'm there drinking all these different beers, and every beer comes in its own glass in
Yeah.
Belgium. Every brewery supplies every bar with glasses for their beer.
Yep.
So I was drinking this one, which was a wheat beer or something. Anyway, I'd had a few of them, so I told the bartender, I said, "What happens if I don't return this glass when I'm finished?" So he says, "I'll just put it on your tap," and I think it was $5 or five
Oh,
euros.
geez.
So for €5, I got a little souvenir from the bar.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So
I will not openly admit to the internet that I might have stolen a beer glass from a couple of breweries just because the glass was really nice. But I
yeah,
always ask first, do
yeah,
you sell this?
yeah,
Because I will buy it.
yeah.
But if you don't sell it, it may disappear. I don't always carry a purse, but if I'm going to a brewery, you can
There you go.
betcha I'm bringing a purse. So now everybody on the internet knows. So I am drinking an IPA in my favorite. I have
Oh, that's
my
nice. Oh
it's a
yeah, the
glass that looks
skull.
like a
Yeah,
skull, but it fits a tall boy perfectly. So it's my favorite beer glass.
nice.
But this is actually a session IPA by Forked River, which is a London local. And it doesn't have any kind of description on it, but I like that it's called Bravo, and there's this whole audience
clapping, and I just
Yeah.
thought this was really on point for our
That's funny.
conversation today.
That's
So
funny.
bravo,
Yeah.
Peter.
Good. Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah. That's
Bravo. And cheers to
good
you.
choice. Good
Cheers to
choice.
you.
Yeah. Cheers.
So, oh yeah, I gotta sip when you say cheers, right? Otherwise, it's bad luck. I do remember this. So I also want to ask you about, because I ask everybody about their mentors, right? So people who have been in the industry, their profession, career for more than however many years, we kind of get the sense that we didn't get here by ourselves, that there are people along our path that help us, that either push us forward or pull us along the way. For me, that's Beth Edney and Liz Dearborn. They both they're pulling me along, not so
Mhm.
much pushing me, but anyway. And you mentioned Bill Howick.
Yeah. So there, Bill Hewitt owned and started and owned Acme Environmentals in Toronto, and he was the king of the pile back in the 80s and 90s, and he did the biggest and best projects in Toronto. And when
Hmm.
George and I started out in the late 80s and early 90s, we were driving around, kids in a pickup truck, having a great time, dreaming about what we could make the company.
Hmm.
And we looked at what other people were doing. There were a lot of great companies back then. The Soltis used to do a lot of work. You don't know who those people are. Park Lane was really big in Toronto. Anyway, Acme Environmentals, they were pretty active right until the mid 2000s. And but we looked at these companies as examples of what we could strive for. And this, we didn't join Landscape Ontario until 1995.
Okay.
And so for many years, we were just driving around oblivious that there was a network of, like-minded individuals that wanted to share their knowledge and experience. George and I were
Hmm.
just out there beating our heads against each other.
Yeah.
And then we discovered Landscape Ontario, uh, mostly because Canada Blooms was starting, and it sort of
Right.
culminated with participating in the first Canada Blooms in 1996.
Hmm.
And as soon as we joined Landscape Ontario, light bulbs went off. All of a sudden, we got introduced to so many fantastic business owners who were willing to share their knowledge and experience and talk to you,
Yeah.
and that was really inspiring. And I mean, that's substantially why I've spent a lot of my time, on Canada Blooms. I joined the board at Canada Blooms. I joined the board at Landscape Ontario, and I've been volunteering for the last, I don't know, 30 years
Hmm.
with Landscape Ontario, because as soon as I saw the value of that network, it became something I had to do.
Yeah.
And it's really helped a lot in terms of helping me learn my craft, helping me learn what's important in the business. And now, yeah, I'm still volunteering. I'm chair of Landscape Canada at the CNLA. I'm chair of the Canadian Landscape Standard. I'm vice chair at the Green Cities Foundation. I'm still on the board of Landscape Ontario. I was so inspired by all these great builders back in the 90s and 2000s. I felt compelled to return the favor. So
That's I couldn't have said it better myself. I actually I wanted what I wanted to ask you was when you and George started this business in 1986, did you ever think or wonder about being in the position you are now where you're actually mentoring and coaching other people who are like the you in 1986?
it's it's so funny. Your perception of the world changes so much. And I didn't know people like this existed when we started our company. I didn't know that there were people in business that mentored other people in business. My imagined reality was that business was cutthroat and it's
Cutthroat.
every man for themselves,
Me against you,
because we were very sexist back then. We didn't even consider that a woman could beat us, but
right?
it was the 80s, and we
Yep.
were naive and mostly dumb. And And so we just thought we have to figure it out on our own. So we spent most of our time alone, working in a silo.
Right.
So the idea that we did want to grow our business, but it was just our imagination. It wasn't because we saw something that was reality.
Right.
And joining Landscape Ontario and meeting other business owners was actually made it clearer the a pathway for us.
Right. I think something that I've seen again and again through Landscape Ontario is that there seems to be this massive shift when business owners stop growing for themselves. Like they're trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger and more profitable and us. And then they see, oh, there's other people trying to do this. I wonder if we can branch out and help them. And by doing so, they shoot up through the roof. Like, I don't know how else to say it. But once you take that shift from everything for me, myself, and my business and our guys and girls, and start to kind of branch out and be like, who else can I help with what I just learned? Everything seems to shift. Like
Yeah.
it's magic.
Yeah,
I don't know
no,
how else to put it.
yeah. Every time I give, I get back as much or more, and then it becomes just a habit. It's helped me more than I've given, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't try and do any math on that, but it sure feels like I have benefited so much more than I've given over the years.
Right. It's something that I keep coming back to at the peer-to-peer network through Landscape Ontario. They always say if you're sitting at a group with 8 other people and you give everyone your best idea, you go home with 8 new best ideas. Like, I'm not very good at math, but
Yeah,
that seems like pretty good math to me.
that's pretty good math.
You
Yeah,
give 1 and you get 8?
yeah,
Like, sign me up.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's
Um,
it's fun, and it's great to see the potential for the future of the business as well.
Absolutely. I'm personally excited to see where this industry goes, where Landscape Ontario goes, where we all go. Like I've only been in this for 12 years, and it's been interesting to me to see all these other businesses flourish and change and pivot, right? During COVID, a lot of people had to shift gears and adapt, and yet we're still persevering. Um, so which is actually that's one of your words, persevering. That's what I wanted to get
Yes,
to.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I like asking people their best sort of advice for people who are getting into it or just wanting to start their own business or considering it.
yeah,
And you said that it will take more than you think. Use your network, persevere. Can you
yeah.
talk on that?
It's well, so you know, we do planning. We say this is what we want to do this year. This is what we want to be in 5 years. This would be a nice idea to grow into this or to develop that specialty. And all of our ideas and all of our plans are generally optimistic.
Yep.
And, I mean, in recent memory, we've had what kind of surprises? COVID, obviously, a surprise.
Right.
So you either got beaten by it or you adapted for it. You've got things like, then you've got the supply chain issues that happened
Oh my
the
gosh.
next year, and then you've got inflation that happened the next year, and then you've got
A dip in
Trump that
spending.
happened with his tariffs
Yeah.
and the uncertainty around that, and high interest rates, and every year there's something that nobody was predicting. They've been predicting a recession for 15 years, so it's the one thing they are predicting is what we haven't had, but everything else has happened except for a plague of locusts.
Right.
So, but we're very close to that with box tree moth.
Yeah.
So the the key is that you should always dream big,
Hmm.
but you should be prepared for it being more difficult. And what if that doesn't happen? How will
Right.
we respond if something negative happens? to our business or to the economy, something that's existential or something that we can act upon. But, there are businesses that thrive in every economy. I mean, not every business thrives in every economy, but there's always businesses that thrive. So when there's a downturn, somebody is thriving. And what is it that they're doing differently during that downturn that everyone else is not doing? And if you just say, woe is me, because the economy is down, so it's okay that I'm doing poorly, then you've given up.
Yeah.
And you want to look for inspiration in those businesses that look for opportunities. When everyone else is selling, you should be buying.
Right.
When everyone else is buying, you should be selling. And there are people that are, countering the prevailing thoughts, and it's generally that's more successful. So I would say hope for the best, but plan for the worst.
Right.
And that's what I mean by persevere.
Yeah.
Because if you push, if you're always trying and always adapting, you will succeed eventually. Hard work will trump in the good kind of trump.
The good kind of trump.
Hard work will trump luck or talent in the end.
Yeah. And there's definitely something to be said for falling short of a big dream than falling short of a small dream.
Right.
I'm sure that's in a book somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you plan for, I don't know what everybody's goals are, but let's say 1 million, right? Let's say your goal in business is to hit $1 million in revenue. And for somebody, that's going to be for me, that would be a big goal, right? That would be my 10X goal. I'm a very small company of one person. I have no staff. That's just me. So 1 million would be huge. But if I fell short of that and I did $800,000 in revenue, that would be crazy. Where if I just set my goal for 100,000 and I fall short of that and I make 80,000, I don't know. I would rather hit the 800,000. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Make the big goal. Like, go for the big goal. And if you fall short of that, don't beat yourself up. You made the goal and it set you in the right path. It set you in the right direction. And so what? You fell a little short of that big dream. You're probably a lot further ahead than if you didn't set a goal or make a dream.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. And I know we've had, so I think it was in 2005, maybe in around there, George came to the office and he had a new mantra, and that was to be the least important person in the office. And I said, you know what, that's a good thought, or a good driving sort of force in terms of your role in the company.
Yeah.
And so he and I sort of bought into that. We looked for ways to, train our staff so that we were less critical to every function in the business. And that, obviously is a precursor to being able to retire from the business or sell the business, or so that you're not literally handcuffed to the business.
Right.
And so recently, probably 3 years ago, George ended up giving up all of his roles at Oriole Landscaping now, where he's able to do consulting full time now.
Right.
And I'm still connected to Oriole. I'm still working at Oriole probably half the time.
Yeah.
But it is I'm less critical to the day-to-day operations. So but that took 15 years or almost 20 years.
Wow.
And when we thought of it and we said, we were imagining 2015, we'd be ready to sell the company or, retire, but it took almost twice as long as we anticipated.
It always takes more than what you think it will.
Yeah.
Right.
But we stayed focused on that goal, and we did eventually achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, when are you going to retire? They ask me. And I'm like, well, what will I do when I retire? Right? What is retirement? You get to do what you want when you want. Right? I'm like, that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm not critical. I'm not critical to the day-to-day operations. So if I decided to take a day off, nothing would happen at the company. Nobody's going to miss me. I do a
Yeah.
lot of important stuff, I promise, but it's not critical to the day-to-day operation of the business.
Right.
So in that respect, I am already doing what I want when I want. I
Hmm.
just choose, this is what I choose to do because
Right.
I like it so much. I like the people that I work with. I like the customers. I love still doing design and solving problems for customers.
Yeah.
So I think if I retired, I would just continue doing this.
Right.
So
It's something that for me was definitely a driving force in finding where I fit because my mom was a manager at a bank, and I don't know how many times she came home happy because I don't remember any. She always came home stressed out,
mhm.
bringing work home. There's a big problem here and there's drama here, and people aren't getting along and we're having a staffing issue, and there was no passion for her in what she did for her day to day. She's now very happily retired, and I can
Yeah,
tell you she is not banking for the joy of it, right? Like, no way.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but like I always thought, if I'm gonna work my life, like I want to work at something that I want to choose to do and feel like what I do matters. And when I found landscaping and landscape design, it was just something clicked. And I thought, man, I could do this for 40, 50, I
yeah,
don't know, 60 years, maybe.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of people that say, follow your passion, but there's a lot of people that say that's not necessarily going to make you happy because it's hard to make money just because you are passionate about it.
Right.
The key is to find something that you enjoy doing and you're good at,
And
and
that people find valuable and are willing to pay
that
for.
people are willing to pay for it. So I enjoy doing it. I've done a good job of it, and people are
Yeah.
willing to pay for it. And because I've done it for so long, I've gotten better at it, and it brings me more joy because I'm able to now connect with people in a way I didn't anticipate I could.
Right.
And I've fallen in love with the work that I do rather than doing what I think I would love doing. Like I'd love to be a race car driver. Like if I'm a 15-year-old kid, I want to, like that's my passion. But
Yeah.
it's a good thing I didn't follow that because
Right.
maybe I'm not the greatest driver, but I've done something that I find joy in and I
Yeah.
can make a living at, and I've become good enough at it that I really love it because it brings me all of those other, you know, emotions that I
And
need.
yeah, it's not just what you're passionate about. So for me, it was acting. A lot of my family and friends thought that I would go to Hollywood, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't like large crowds or big cities. So what am I going to do? Get it, like move to New York? No,
Yeah.
no. But I can use my passion for acting in what I do in landscaping, right? It's sales, it's
Yeah.
project management, it's teaching, it's training, it's providing Zoom consultations and coaching like that. I love that. But it's interesting how you were talking about, find something you're good at, you enjoy doing, and people find value for. So have you heard of the term Dharma before? I think I've said it before on the podcast. Dharma. And
That's
and it's I've read this book and it's somewhere up here called Discover Your Dharma. I have a very large library. I'm not gonna Oh yeah, Discover Your Dharma by Sahara Rose.
okay.
And it was a book recommended to me through a networking group during COVID when I was at bottom of the bottom. And reading it was an eye opener for me because it really got me to focus on, well, what do I love doing? I love plants. I love gardening. I love drawing. Landscape design. Interesting. But then I love the training and the teaching and entertaining. I love bringing people joy. Well, I can do that with people in their garden. And people do find value in that and are willing to pay for that. And that's the term of your dharma. So it's these three things. It's
Nice.
what you're good
Yeah.
at, it's what you enjoy doing, what you are actually good at doing, and what people will place value on and are willing
Yes.
to pay for.
Yes.
And that's your dharma.
That's
So
perfect. Yeah, no, that's where I am. And
it's a cool place to be.
it brings a lot of joy. Yeah. Yeah, no,
So we've got about 9-ish minutes left. So I've got a few more questions for you. I'm wondering about This is going to be crazy. What is your favorite plant?
Oh, yeah. Um, so I did think about this, and I I I did settle on windswept pines, and the reason is mostly I love being in the wilderness. I
Hmm.
love being up north. I love people and I love architecture, but being in the wild, like being in a canoe on a lake 50 miles from civilization is such a exhilarating feeling
Hmm.
that and I mean and that's partly why I love bringing nature into landscapes for people in the city is I make spaces feel comfortable or inviting or warm or alive. And that's the little bit I think of what being up north is about. And just the way nature is beautiful without intervention,
Right.
rock faces and trees and how things grow naturally. I mean, I
Mm.
try to recreate that. I mean, I do spend a lot of time creating formal landscapes that are highly manicured, but
If it's what people want, then it's what
but
you deliver, right?
yeah,
So,
but my greatest joy comes from I just did one for a client where we had a lot of like we were trying to make natural looking plantings to make it look like this tree grew naturally this way, and that brings me so much more joy. And sometimes it's more interesting in contrast to all of the straight lines and architecture and but I love playing with that, and I love
yeah.
bringing making people feel connected to nature. I think that's the part that I love. And when
Mm.
I think of connected to nature, I think of like literally being in the middle of nowhere up north.
It's so funny talking about the windswept pines, right? So I often think about the group of seven, right? You think of those uh paintings, but I have a little bit of a thing for rocks. So people on the podcast probably know, like I'm such a rocks girl. I have a rock tumbler going on right now downstairs. I don't
Yeah.
think you guys can hear it. My microphone's pretty good. Um, but when you go up north, right, and you're like northern Ontario, and you see these rock faces just kind of jutting out of the lakes, and these trees and plants are growing right in the rock face
Yeah.
with no assistance. Nobody staked that pine.
Yeah.
That windswept pine does not have a T-bar,
Yeah.
and like,
Or a drip line or a yeah.
it's just perfect the way that it is. Um, yeah, so I was just when you were talking about I was imagining the rock faces and the pines and the water and the canoes. And it made me think of this trail. So I don't know if you've been there, but 6 Mile Lake Provincial Park. If you've not been, write it down,
Yeah.
make
No,
a note of it.
yeah. But which
Uh
trail?
the David Milne Trail, which is funny because he's we have a friend, a mutual friend
We do,
named David
yeah.
Milne, not related.
Okay.
It's not related from him. But the David Milne Trail at 6 Mile Lake Provincial Park is pretty cool because you're actually walking on rock faces. It's not I wouldn't say it's a walk in the park on a mulched bed. No, no, like you're rock climbing a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other one is Inglis Falls. If you have a thing for trees, roots, rocks, Inglis Falls here in Ontario is a place to see.
Yeah. No,
So,
and yeah, no, and they're inspiring because I mean that's what we're trying to bring to people's lives, that connection to nature. So
mhm. So we're running out of time here, but I just have a couple more things for you. So you had mentioned earlier about the success that you've had in creating a turnkey business, right? It's not something you do overnight. That's not something you just decide, oh, I'm going to sell my business next year. No, you're not, right? These things take time. And I had a question for you because it's something that's come up that I'm seeing kind of in our industry and our profession, and I'm wondering if you have thoughts about it. So, as part of making a turnkey company, you do need people, like you said, managers. You need to empower them to run your business without you, right? But we kind of hear this, I don't know, a two-sided coin, if you will, that employers will say, oh, there's no loyalty anymore. I will train my employees, I will give them everything, but they'll just leave. Or they'll call in sick one day and never show up again. Or they'll show up drunk one day and decide that they don't want to work here anymore. So there's this point of view from the employer saying employees don't have loyalty anymore. But on the flip side of that, you have employees, and I'm talking from personal experience. I've also just had a friend, he's been with the same company for 21 years. A new owner came in and let him go without reason or anything. 21 years with the same company. And so you have both employers saying employees don't have any loyalty to the company. But then you have employees who know that at any moment, the employer can just be like, don't need you anymore. So how do we juggle this in a turnkey business?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, there's no loyalty anymore, but everybody says that.
Both ways, right?
Both ways.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's a delicate balance to manage personalities. And, maybe you have to be a psychologist to really master it, but
right.
But I think the most important thing for staff is to instill a sense of trust. So, and the way you do that is through action. You demonstrate that you will follow through on your promises.
Yeah.
Your actions, back up your words. You can say that I value my employees, but if you don't actually value them, then they will see right through that, that it's lip service. It is, you have to pay them well. You have to support them when there's a problem. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are hard to do sometimes.
Yeah.
And, it's instinctive perhaps to blame somebody when something happens, but, 9 times out of 10, it's a process problem, not a people problem. When something bad happens, there's usually a reason, and the owner of the business is probably the cause because they created the system to allow that to happen. If you had created a better system, it would have stopped that outcome from happening. You would have caught it before it happened with checks and balances in a system. And that's 99% of the reason why we have so many systems at Oriole is we have a process. So clients don't get forgotten because we have a process for managing them in a systematic way. We have stuff. We did Landscape Ontario had a program this past winter called Intent-Based Leadership.
Right.
And it was really interesting. It's a technique to do this work so that employees feel like they're safe, where you give them leadership responsibilities, but you're not throwing them in the deep end.
Yeah.
You're having it's about communication primarily, but it gives them a safe place to grow as leaders, and for you to catch any errors before they happen. So again, it's the employer who is responsible for ensuring that the system works. And once you demonstrate that enough, like what we've experienced at Oriole, is staff will stay with you. I have several staff that have retired out of work through Oriole. I have staff that have been with me. I have one staff member, the longest serving staff member, started with me in 1994. So he celebrated 30 years last year.
Wow.
And I have other staff members that start at the same time that have retired, in recent years. But then there's, I've got lots of 20-year employees, 15-year employees. So demonstrating this trust through your actions
Yeah.
does create some sense of loyalty. And when you have those loyal employees staying with you, choosing to stay with you, uh, it communicates to the rest of the staff that this is a good place
Mm.
for long-term thinking.
Right.
So it takes a long time to have that happen. One of the staff that retired recently, he had his own business, and it's a struggle running your business, especially a small business. So he joined our company in 1994, and he retired in 2022 or so, 2021 or 2022. But he was like, he'd gone through all of the aches and pains of running a business, and he said, you know what, this is much better. And there's a
Right.
lot of staff at Oriole that say, you know what, it's better here than it was running my own business.
Yeah.
They get power over their future. They command their own domain where they're
Hmm.
at work, and they have a safe place. They have, almost guaranteed work. Like I've come close some years, but I've never had to lay people off due to shortage of work. Like we've
Right.
been slow sometimes,
Hmm.
but it's like nobody's ever lost their job because I screwed up on my sales, and
Hmm.
that's that. So I think it's important to give them a safe place.
Right. Well, very well said. I think actions do speak louder than words. It's pretty impressive that you've had people retire from Oriole Landscaping. Like that is so cool. That is so cool. Peter, we are out of time. I'm still not
Uh-oh.
giving the code yet, though. People actually have to wait till the end for a pre-recorded message, and I will give away the discount code for 50% off to come and see Koivik and attend the event for
Awesome.
50% off. So instead of $600, you're going to pay $300 for a really
Much
intense
better.
2 days. So,
Much better.
um, much
And it,
better.
it is worth 600.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Like this is not something you're going to want to miss. If you have a crew, if you have a shop and you're wondering, something isn't quite working right, why not have the opportunity to go to an open door event to see how one of the best is running their ship. Like
Yes.
that's an incredible opportunity. So thank you for making it happen. I'm looking forward to seeing you there on the 20th. And thanks again
Awesome.
for sitting down with me today and
That sounds
sharing a
right.
beer.
Yeah.
And I will see you next month.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Heather. That
Okay.
was fun.
Thanks, Peter, and I will see you around.
All right.
Okay, cheers.
Bye.
That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.
You've made it! You've listened to the entire episode of Hops and Hedges with special guest Peter Guinane, and now this is the discount code. So if you want to attend this VIP, it is such an extraordinary event on August 20th. The discount code is HOPS50. That's HOPS 50. And this is only limited to 10 tickets. So make sure you get them before they're gone. There is the Eventbrite link in the description of this podcast episode. Hopefully you will nab your ticket, and I will see you there at Koivik in Milton, Ontario on August 20th. Cheers, friends, and have a great day.